Y'all know I wrote a book, right? It's called Buy a Game and it's free. Click the link down there, you got it.
DreAllDay.com.
What's going on, everybody? Dre Baldwin, DreAllDay.com, WorkOnYourGameU.com, HoopHandbook.com. You want them signature manuals? They coming soon. Today I'm making this video. Obviously you've seen the title. It's probably the reason why you clicked on it, because of what has happened recently with what LeBron James has said. He's made some comments. He made some comments. His team has had some results. He's made some comments to the media about his team, about himself, about the players on his team, the players not on his team. And then just today, when I'm recording this, you're watching this yesterday. You're watching this yesterday because I'm putting this out the next day. He made some comments about Charles Barkley that I read that really surprised me because I'm not used to LeBron James talking like this. And I want to make sure I put this disclaimer out here before I even get into the meat of this video, is that number one, I'm not an NBA analyst. I am when I'm watching the finals or the playoffs. That's the only time I really follow the games. I don't really follow the regular season games besides looking at the stats. But this is not really about, this video is not really about LeBron James or Charles Barkley. We're just using them because they happen to be the people in the news. And I know you would click on something that's about LeBron James. So I am a registered opportunist. I'm using this as an opportunity for you to see this vid, for me to share with you what I really want you to get out of it, which is not just my opinions on LeBron James, but I'm going to relate this to my area of expertise, which is not analyzing people talking trash to each other through the media, which is corny in my opinion, but that's not even what this is about. This is about leadership, mentality, and working with other people. That's what this video is really about. So if you was thinking it was about something else, it's not. That's what this video is about. And I even went and wrote some notes now because I want to make sure I get all these notes off to y'all. So I'm going to go through what happened with LeBron, what's happened since, and how I feel about it, and how it relates to you. Because this ain't even about me. This is how it's going to relate to you moving forward as a leader, as part of an organization, as a member of a team, whether you're an athlete or a business person. So for people who don't know, the Cleveland Cavaliers have lost some games. This is going to be the first, January ends up the first losing month of LeBron James's time since he came back to Cleveland. I think it's the first losing month of his whole career since like 2007 or something. He hasn't had a losing month in the NBA for almost 10 years, something like that. And the Cavs have been losing. Kevin Love's been missing some games, but the Cavs are kind of shorthanded because Birdman got injured. He's out for the season. J.R. Smith injured his thumb. He's out. He hasn't come back yet. So the Cavs are kind of down a few men. They've been losing. And LeBron James made some comments to the media basically saying, look, we're a top-heavy team. We got me, we got Kyrie, we got Kevin Love. We're very top-heavy. So basically he's saying without us three carrying the load, the team really can't get anything else done because we don't have enough players in every other spot. He said we need bodies, we need more people. He said earlier we need a point guard. I'm not going to say it again. We need more players. We shouldn't be putting it on the young guys because they got some rookies on the team who haven't really been delivering. He said we shouldn't be depending on the young guys. We need some more veteran guys, some playmakers, guys who can handle the ball, guys who can protect the rim. Basically saying we need more players on our team. Okay, so that's what LeBron James said in the media. Charles Barkley was on TNT, and the funny thing is I don't even watch that show, but I was foam rolling because, just to give y'all some context, I just finished running the Miami Marathon on Sunday, this past Sunday. I was foam rolling, and while I'm foam rolling, I just pulled up on my iPad, YouTube, and I saw the TNT. It said Charles Barkley talking about LeBron. I said, all right, this is always interesting. Let me see what Charles Barkley said. He made his comments, and him and Shaq was going back and forth. And then I saw KG and Rasheed while I was there. It's funny watching those two guys try to talk proper for TV. That's the funniest part. But then when I read Charles Barkley's comment, I saw Charles Barkley's comments. He said LeBron was whining. He doesn't want to compete. Charles went a little over the top with that. But being on TV, that's what you got to do because it gets people to talk about it, gets us to talk about it, make videos about it, tweet about it, and that's how it becomes a story. So Charles Barkley was doing what Charles Barkley does as a TV talking head. That's what he is, a talking head on TV. LeBron James is a guy who's always been like a high road guy. Remember last year in the finals when Steph Curry's wife made some subliminal comments towards LeBron James. He didn't respond. When Klay Thompson made some comments towards LeBron, he didn't respond. The only time we seen LeBron respond was when Draymond said something, punched him in his nuts, and they kind of sort of went at it, but not really. We knew they wasn't going to fight or nothing in the middle of the finals. But LeBron James never been a guy to go back and forth verbally with anybody. And honestly, he doesn't have to because LeBron James is the best basketball player in the world. He was when they lost in the finals, and he still was when they won in the finals. He doesn't have to go back and forth with anybody in the NBA or any analysts watching the NBA because there's only a few guys who ever played in the league who could say they had a better career than LeBron, and most of them, actually, if I think about it, I don't think any of them are analysts on TV. So he don't have to go back and forth with anybody. So when he responded to Barkley, because I was actually just scrolling through my Twitter timeline from the previous day, and I saw these comments, and LeBron was like, yo, I wasn't the guy I didn't spit on a kid, I didn't throw a guy through a window, I don't forget what other incidents of Charles's he brought up. So I wasn't the guy who showed up on a Sunday for the All-Star game because I've been partying in Vegas all weekend. I didn't even know that Charles Barkley story, so that was kind of sorty. I don't know if y'all knew that y'all already know that story. Was that public knowledge that I just didn't know about? Because if it wasn't, then LeBron James is kind of dry snitching right there. That's called dry snitching, telling on somebody without really telling on them. But y'all can tell me, fill me in if that was already public knowledge. And I've been following Barkley for damn near his whole career. I'm from Philadelphia, so when he was playing for the Sixers, I didn't know that story. I knew the spitting on, I knew the throw the guy through the window thing, I knew that when Barkley admitted to having a gambling problem. And then LeBron got really, these are comments that he just made, I believe, last night after the Cavs lost to the Dallas Mavericks, Monday night that is, when LeBron James said, Charles Barkley, I know he wanted to retire. He said, Charles Barkley's not relevant, blah, blah, blah. His opinion is not credible. Just because he's on TV is not credible. He's a hater, whatever. But then he said something very interesting. He said, I know Charles Barkley wants to retire, but he can't because, I don't think he said exactly why, but he said he can't. He has to go up there on that stage every night and work. And that was very, first of all, that's personal. LeBron James made it personal when he made that statement, and that right there is kind of like, that's borderline disrespectful. Actually, it's not borderline, that is disrespectful, because now you're talking to another man, you're talking about another man's ability to take care of himself, basically. He's saying Chuck Wood wanted to retire, but he can't, so he has to work because he needs the money. That's what LeBron said without actually saying it in so many words. So that's why I want to talk about, not all of that, but I want to talk about some of that here today, and I want to make sure y'all understand how this relates to you. So y'all follow me. Let me get to my first point. My first point is this. LeBron James is actually right partly with what he said about Charles Barkley, by saying Charles is a hater, quote unquote. Anybody who's being negative about you, but they're not doing anything to kind of help you out, you can say they're a hater. So is Charles Barkley being a hater, being on TV, talking negatively about, if he talks negatively about anybody, that person can say he's a hater, because Charles ain't out there playing, he ain't coaching, he not training anybody, he's just on TV talking about you good or bad, depending on how you perform. Yeah, you can say everybody on TV is a hater. So that part is not what I'm talking about, because LeBron James could have said the same thing about that guy who used to work for ESPN, who now has his own show on Fox, who LeBron James will never mention by name. That dude been talking about LeBron way longer and way worse than Charles Barkley. So while LeBron decided to respond to Barkley but not respond to that guy, I don't know. And all y'all know who I'm talking about. So LeBron James is right to point out that I've always been a high road guy. I don't really respond to people, but all of a sudden, LeBron said in his comments, I'm tired of biting my tongue. And then he said there's a new sheriff in town. I don't know what the hell that's supposed to mean. LeBron, you've been in town for like 15 years. I don't know how it's a new sheriff in town. And here's the other thing about LeBron James I want to add that's not even in my notes. Because players often ask me about trash talking. They say, Dre, should I trash talk? Should I talk trash in the game if somebody else talks trash to me? And I explained to y'all in the video, I got a couple videos on trash talking, so if you didn't see them, look them up. But I explained this in the video that trash talking is kind of an art. It's not a science. Meaning, trash talking is not something you can read a book or take an online course or hire a coach and somebody can teach you to be a trash talker. It's either you have the ability to do it or you don't. And if you have to ask someone if you should trash talk, you should not trash talk because you don't have the ability. See, people who can trash talk don't have to ask anybody if it's okay to trash talk. They know what they can do and they know they can get into it. And people who can't know that they shouldn't be trash talking. You understand? You know whether you can back it up or you can't back it up. Me, myself, for example, when I played basketball, listen, I talk trash all day. I talk trash to the players on the other team, players on my team, the referees, the fans. I'll talk trash to anybody because I was good at it. I knew how to do it. But if you don't know how to do it, you shouldn't be talking. And I'll tell you all that to tell you this. LeBron James is not a trash talker. And one other thing I said in the video, listen, you don't have to be a trash talker to be a good player. There are plenty of great players out there who didn't really talk trash. They would just play the game, do their thing very quietly, and they produce. John Stockton is a guy, I don't think I ever saw him trash talking. John Stockton was pretty damn good. He's a Hall of Famer. There are other players. You could even say somebody like Steph Curry. I mean, he might, not that he never opens his mouth, but I don't see Steph Curry as a trash talker. He's just a guy who goes out and does his job. He's pretty damn good at it. Back-to-back MVPs, got a championship, most threes in history in the NBA regular season. he's not a trash talker. Everybody doesn't have to talk trash, and you do not need to be good to talk trash, and you don't need to talk trash to be good. You understand? I'm saying all that to say LeBron James is not a trash talker. He's not a guy who should get into the back and forth verbally with people because, number one, LeBron James is not good at it. LeBron James is not good at the back and forth verbal stuff. Like this stuff that he did with Charles Barkley, again, the stuff that I already pointed out, like, dude, there's been a lot of people talking about you publicly who have a platform, who have a lot of followers, even more than Charles Barkley, who doesn't even use social media. So if you're going to go back at Charles for talking about you, then you got to line, there's a bunch of people you got to line up. Like, now you can't pick and choose who you're going to go back and forth with, especially if you get personal like you did with Charles Barkley. Then, dude, you need to, there's a bunch of people that have been talking about you. There's one guy especially that everybody knows, who more people follow his comments than Charles Barkley's comments. If you're going to respond to Chuck, you got to respond to those people. You can't pick and choose when you're going to get tough or when you're going to get nasty or get personal with people. If that's the criteria. Are you talking about how I'm not this and I'm not that? Listen, that other guy I've been talking about you way worse than anything Charles Barkley's ever said. And he's been doing it for way longer. So now, when you want to say something to that guy now, you can't pick and choose. I'm saying that to say LeBron James is not a trash talker. He doesn't need to get into the verbal stuff with people because it's not his thing. LeBron James can play. You're the best player in the world. He doesn't have to do that. His play shuts everybody up. And there ain't nobody who's been better than him who's talking about it. Now, the other thing is, let's get into the points here. Now, 11 minutes into this video, LeBron James is the best player in the world. Okay, we all know that. I think we all pretty much agree to that. If you don't, I'm not debating it. He's the best player in the world. But anyway, when you're the leader on a team, any team, I don't care if you're running a business, if you're doing a charity event, playing tug of war, if you work at the Red Cross, you play on a baseball team, a basketball team, if you're the undisputed best player, you are the leader that everyone looks to and listens to, and you say we're going to do this, everybody follows and does it. When you're that person in the organization, you can't throw your people under the bus. LeBron James threw his team under the bus. Now, I heard Tristan Thompson, I read Tristan Thompson said, well, we don't take it personal. I know what my job is to do this, and this guy has his job, this person, everybody has to do their job. So when LeBron says what he has to say, listen, he's the leader, he can say what he wants to say. I get it, you backing up your man, you backing up your teammate, which is what he should do. If he says something other than that, then it become like another controversy that the media would pick up, and it would give them something to write about, and people, maybe somebody like me, not really, but other people on YouTube, something to talk about. But listen, that's what Tristan Thompson is going to do. Tristan Thompson is not the man on the Cavs. LeBron James is the man. You can't throw your man, you can't throw your men or your women, just your people, you can't throw them under the bus with a comment like that. Your team loses a game and you say, we don't have enough people. That, first of all, you just threw everybody on the team under the bus, except yourself. You said, okay, we played in the game, the other team played in the game, the other team beat us, and you say we don't have enough people. Well, did y'all play with 4 people? Was it 4 against 5? It was 5 on 5, right? Y'all lost. You can't say we don't have enough people, because now you're saying everybody else on the team is not enough for us to win. That's what you're saying. Without saying it, that's what you're saying to everyone else on the team. Now again, maybe he gets maybe people just let it go because he's not a guy who usually says stuff like this publicly. Maybe because he's won the championship, he's the best player in the world, he has some leeway to say this stuff. Regardless, I don't care how many championships in a row you won, you can't throw your people under the bus. Anybody on that team, they might not say it publicly. Maybe somebody will pull him aside privately, but I think all of them were thinking, at least for a moment, like, damn, dude, I'm on the team. We ain't got enough people. Like, you was at the game. I was at the game. Everybody else was at the game. We don't have enough people now. All of a sudden, we just won the championship 8 months ago, 7 months ago. Now we don't have enough people. He just threw his whole team under the bus. You can't do that. You can't throw your team under the bus like that. Then he said, we're very top heavy. So basically he said, then he named the people. He said, me, Kevin Love, Kyrie Irving, right? How many people on the Cavs roster? Like 13, 14, 15? Let's say it's 15 people on the roster, whatever number it is. He just said, the 3 of us make it top heavy. 1, 2, 3. So that basically says to the other 12 people, these 12 guys is garbage. The 3 of us are the top heavy guys. We're the ones carrying the load, but without us, the rest of the team's garbage. That's what he said. If I was playing on the Cavs, or if you were playing on the Cavs, or if he wasn't the man on the Cavs, but he was on the Cavs and he wasn't one of those 3, he'd be thinking to himself like, dude, you just threw us under the bus. You basically just said we're garbage. You basically just said, besides the 3 of us, nobody else can get anything done. You can't throw your people under the bus. I don't care how good you are, how much money you made, how many championships you won, what trophy you just got. You can't throw your people under the bus with a comment like that. And then on top of that, he did it subliminally. It's like I'm deciphering what he said. This is clearly what he was saying. There's no other way you can look at this. And then to do it subliminally is even worse. And I know in 2017, this is the era, this is the cool thing to say things subliminally without going directly to the person you got something to say something to, or the people you had to say something about. You do it subliminally. You kind of sort of say it, but not really say it. I don't respect that, honestly. And I'm not even saying LeBron James personally. I'm just saying I don't respect that way of communication. This, when people do it through social media and stuff. And I know the Chicago Bulls had a whole other thing. And I'm a big fan of D-Wade, but what D-Wade did was out of line. Him and Jimmy Butler, they threw their team under the bus. They did the same thing. They threw their team under the bus. Only difference between the Cavs and the Bulls is, number one, the Cavs won a championship and the Bulls didn't even make the playoffs. And number two, it ain't nobody on the Cavs team who's thinking like Rajon Rondo. Like, Rajon Rondo didn't won a ring as a starter. Rajon Rondo been there. He ain't really the dude anymore, but Rajon Rondo also is not a dude who's going to sit and hold his tongue while he's getting thrown under the bus. Jimmy Butler and Dwayne Wade did throw everybody on the Bulls, besides the two of them, under the bus. They said, all right, so it's us two. Let's just throw everybody else on the team under. That's what they did. You can't call yourself a leader and throw your people under the bus like that. So D-Wade was wrong. Jimmy Butler was wrong. Rondo was wrong because he did it through social media, which is whack. He should have did it directly. Hopefully he did. Rondo seems like a guy who will step up and say something to somebody's face, but maybe he had to do it on Instagram since Jimmy and Dwayne Wade kind of aired their laundry out through the media, so I guess he figured he had to do the same thing. Whether I agree with that or not doesn't matter, but again, they were wrong as well. So back to my LeBron James point. You can't throw your people under the bus. Look at James Harden's team. Who got more talent overall? Would you rather have James Harden's teammates or LeBron James' teammates? If you just had to pick just on teammates, who would you rather have? Now, maybe top to bottom roster, maybe the Rockets it works better because of how James Harden plays and the personnel. I get all that. And his coaching style. But listen, I'd rather have Kyrie and Kevin Love than anybody on the Houston Rockets team outside of James Harden. Basically, take James Harden off the Rockets, right? Take LeBron off the Cavs, and then you look at everybody on the Cavs team and everybody on the Rockets team. Who's the next best two players? You take away LeBron and James Harden. Who are the next best two players between those two rosters? Kyrie, Irving, and Kevin Love. So that team, and I'm saying that to say this, LeBron James, he doesn't really have a leg to stand on to say we're top heavy or we need more guys. He does, but he doesn't. Because number one, they got the highest payroll in the league. Number two, both of those guys are max contract all-stars. Kevin Love and Kyrie Irving been on Team USA, which is supposedly the 12 best players the Americans can put together. 12 best players the United States can put together in the whole country of 300 million people. They were on the 12 best group to play basketball. All right, those guys can play. James Harden don't have no Olympians on his team, not USA Olympians. Let's say that. I don't know the international guys. Russell Westbrook, he don't have no USA Olympians on his team, but guess what? They go out there and play every single night. I ain't heard Russell Westbrook say nothing negative about his teammates. I ain't heard James Harden say anything negative about his teammates. And guess what? The Cavaliers have more wins than the OKC Thunder and the Houston Rockets. But LeBron James saying we need more people. We don't have enough bodies. It's very top heavy. Like, you can't do that as a leader. That's number one. As a leader, you cannot do that. I don't care how garbage the rest of your team is. And that's going to take me into my next point. You being the best player. You're the best player on your basketball team. You right now. Because many basketball players reach out to me and they'll say something like, Dre, I'm the best player on my team, but my teammates aren't that serious. My teammates don't take practice serious. They don't put any extra work in on their games. When I start playing hard, they get mad at me for playing hard. What am I supposed to do when I got these people on my team who don't really want to play hard? They don't really want to go hard. What am I supposed to do about that, Dre? How do I lead these people? How do I get them to start taking basketball serious? What am I supposed to do? Understand this. If you're the best player on the team, when you walk into the room, if you could be a CEO heading into a board meeting, you could be the project manager heading into a presentation to the CEO. You could be a basketball player about to go play a game in your basketball league, on your season, on your school team, whatever the situation is. If you feel in your mind that you're the best player on the team, then you being there alone, you alone showing up is enough. If you're the best player, the fact that you came to the game, the fact that you got on the bus, the fact that you put a uniform on and tied your shoes up and you're standing in the circle at the beginning of the game, that's enough for your team to be able to compete. That's your mentality. Let me ask, and just in case y'all think this, just to make sure it's not too abstract for y'all, think about Russell Westbrook. Just think about his mentality. I never met Russell Westbrook, never played with him, never had a conversation with the man. But if just looking at the way Russell Westbrook conducts himself on the court, just the way he plays, do you think Russell Westbrook has this mentality? Yes or no? Absolutely he does. If you think he doesn't, let me know down in the comments. But I'm sure most of you agree he does. Does Russell Westbrook come to the game? When the game starts, it could be Russell Westbrook against the dream team. All right, minus him. He should be on Team USA. But let's say he's not on the team. You take the next 12 best guys in the league. You could take Russell Westbrook and the OKC team against the all-star starters. Is Russell Westbrook afraid? Is Russell Westbrook going to go to the media after the game if he loses and say, oh, we don't have enough bodies. We need more people. Well, my team's very top-heavy after me. Russell Westbrook would never say anything like that. And I'm not saying that LeBron needs to be like Russell Westbrook. Listen, LeBron got the rings, Russell ain't got none. But here's the mentality. When you're the best player, your mindset is, listen, the fact that I'm here is enough for us to compete. We got a chance to win because I'm on the team. We got a chance to win this business because I'm part of the sales presentation. We got a chance to be the #1 team in the company because I'm on this team. That's your mentality when you're a leader. So when LeBron James comes in and says, we don't have enough bodies, we need more people, like, dude, you're the best player in the world. What are you talking about? Y'all need more people. You are the people. You are the people, LeBron James. You wanted Kevin Love on the team. Kyrie got his max. Tristan Thompson got his big deal. You wanted these people. LeBron James basically runs his teams. Like, since he's been back in Cleveland, he picks and chooses who's going to be on the team. Everybody knows that, right? I mean, that's not a secret anymore, is it? Michael Jordan lose a game and say we don't have enough people, we need more people? No. Russell Westbrook, Kobe Bryant, what are they going to do? What are they going to do? Just based off what you know about these guys. I don't know any of these guys I'm mentioning, never had a personal conversation with any of them. But what are they going to do if their team isn't performing the way they expect their team to perform? They're not going to go to the media and say we need more people. Because listen, the media can't get you more people. The general manager maybe, the owner maybe, but the media can't do anything. What they're actually going to do is they're going to play harder. They're going to say, you know what? All right, it's not my fault that the rest of this team is not that good. This is all in their mind. This is not something they're going to say to a reporter or on Instagram. It's not my fault that the rest of the team's not that great, but it is my responsibility to handle this and carry my team. It's not my fault, but it is my responsibility. It's not my fault nobody else on the team is as good as me, thinks LeBron James, but you know what? It is my responsibility for us to do something. When they were in the finals 2 years ago, Kevin Love was out, Kyrie was injured, and it was basically LeBron and a big drop-off to the next best player on that team. He wasn't saying anything like that. Why? Because he knew they couldn't do anything. Look, we got to play. And he went out. LeBron James was balling that year. The year they lost in the finals to the Warriors, LeBron James was playing great. He could have been MVP in my opinion. But he didn't get MVP, but he was balling. That's what I'm saying. He wasn't making excuses. He was like, okay, this is what we got. We got to show up and play. It's the same thing now. This is not fantasy basketball. You can't just go pick somebody up randomly because you want to. Cavs is salary cap restrictions and rosters and all that. The Cavs don't have that much to work with. So for him to just say, we need more people, that just makes no sense to me. You're the best player in the world. Like, your mentality is, me being here alone is enough for us to compete. Now, if we lose, we lose. It's on me because I'm the best player. And if we win, we win. I'm going to distribute credit to everybody else on the team. But throwing the people under the bus is just inexcusable. Number 3. LeBron has the pieces. 2 max contract guys. He just won the championship, and the Cavs had the highest payroll in the NBA. Y'all know the Cavs had the highest payroll in the NBA. So for him to complain is out of line. It's out of line is out of character for a leader. Let me say it that way. This is not, again, this is not really about LeBron James. I hope y'all are catching what I'm saying here and thinking about how it can apply to you in your situation. Maybe you're not the leader right now. Maybe it's just you by yourself. But if you decide to become a leader, and yes, you do decide, you don't just get chosen. If you decide to become a leader, understand these mindsets. The mindsets of, you can't go out there and complain when you're the best. If you're the best person and you put in the work, listen, you got to work with what you got to work with. Here's point number 4. In general, Charles Barkley was right. In general, I think Charles Barkley was right. Not about the whiny thing. I wouldn't say LeBron's a whiny guy. Some people may say that. I wouldn't call him a whiny guy. I wouldn't say that. And then Barkley said LeBron doesn't want to compete. I think that was just heat of the moment, something he said. And maybe that was the thing that got LeBron pissed off or got him to respond. I don't agree with those couple things that Charles Barkley threw out there, but because I'd be pissed off too. If somebody said I was whiny and I didn't want to compete on national TV, I would respond to that person too. But I got a different personality than LeBron James. But LeBron James got personal. Talking about Charles Barkley with some off the court stuff and having to work after retirement. And the reason I'm bringing that up is to say this to all of you out there. Whenever you're responding to something that someone else said or something that someone else did, and you're angry at that person and you make a kind of statement like LeBron James made with Charles Barkley, you got to be very careful with your choice of words and what you say. And this is the reason why. Not because LeBron should be afraid of Charles Barkley. I don't know if he should be or not. That's a whole different conversation. But it's because when you say certain things, especially when you make a generalization, like LeBron James made a generalization in the midst of talking about Charles Barkley, he also made a generalization. I'm explaining exactly what that is. He said, Chuck, I know Chuck wanted to retire a long time ago, but he can't. He has to go there and work every single night, or whatever, however LeBron James said. He basically said Chuck wants to retire, but he can't retire, so he has to go work for TNT. So first of all, when you make a statement like that, you're not just talking about Charles Barkley, because now, listen, when Charles Barkley's working, you know who else is sitting there? Kenny Smith's sitting right there. Ernie Johnson's sitting there. Shaq is sitting right there. Then you got KG and Rasheed Wallace at the Area 21 thing they got. And how many other former NBA players are working as analysts for the local teams? Whatever city you live in, how many former NBA players are working there doing the games every night? They're doing the play-by-play and the color commentary that are not national, but just local. And then how many you got doing the national games? There's a lot of them. A lot of former players who are working around or with or for teams or for some company talking about the NBA after their careers are over. So I'm saying all that to say this. When LeBron James makes a statement like, I know he wanted to retire a long time ago, but he can't. He has to go work every night. Dude, you're not just talking about Charles Barkley. You're talking about Shaq. You're talking about Kenny Smith. You're talking about Sean Elliott working for the Spurs. You're talking about Kai Drexler working for the Knicks. You're talking about whoever else. I don't know the local players, but y'all know the cities y'all live in. Who's those former NBA players? Matt Bullard, I know, has worked for Houston. Who are those former NBA players who are working around the league for teams doing stuff like color commentary, play-by-play, radio, maybe internet stuff, newspaper stuff? Dude, you basically taking a shot at you disrespecting everybody. LeBron, when you say something like that, like you may be offending a whole bunch of other people who you're not even trying to offend. So I'm saying that to explain to all you out there, when you make a comment like that, you got to be very careful with your choice of words. Because even though LeBron James, he obviously said it in the heat of the moment, he said it in the locker room, the Cavs just lost again. He knows everybody's looking at the Cavs because they're losing. He knows everybody's looking at him because he's the best player on the team and the best player in the world and they're losing. He knows everybody wants some opinion of his because Charles Barkley just trashed him on national TV. So it was very heat of the moment thing for LeBron James to say. And unlike him, at least from what I've seen, for him to just go off and snap like that and say something that wasn't measured and thought out, which is why he's been very, I respect so much his act of taking the high road, especially when so many people have taken shots at him over the years. So many people. But he hasn't really gone back at anybody. Not that I know of. Like really gone back at anybody. Number one, because he's not a trash talker. It's not an art. He doesn't have the skill of trash talk. That may be one reason why, but number two, just his level of discipline, holding his tongue, and that's a skill that many people struggle to master throughout their entire lives. But anyway, the point is this: you got to be careful and see. And then, just on the note, the back of what I just said, LeBron James is a guy who never even does something like this. He does it one time, and then what does he do? He says something that, again, there's a lot of people he kind of sideways dissed right there, who he wasn't even trying to talk about. He was trying to talk about Chuck, but every other dude out there working, he basically said something about them. He said, yo, you still working because you can't retire. Like, dude, there's a bunch of dudes working at TNT. There's a bunch of dudes who go to work every night working in the NBA after their careers is over. Like, so basically you're saying, oh, y'all ain't got no money, so you can't retire. Like, dude, y'all understand what I'm saying here? So you got to be careful. I'm saying all that, not because of LeBron James. I don't know LeBron James. I doubt he's going to see this video. So it's not about him. It's about everyone watching this video. Be careful how you say things when you're talking to somebody, especially when you're making some kind of analogy like that. Because LeBron James don't know what Charles Barkley got in the bank. He don't know what Charles Barkley don't got or why he still works or whatever his situation is. He doesn't know. I'm sure he doesn't know. I know they're not friends. They don't have conversations about money. So for him to say something like that he was trying to be like nasty. He was trying to like hit Charles where it hurts. When he could have just said, look, I know how to win championships. Charles doesn't, so Charles could just shut up. He could have just said that. That'd been the whole statement. He would have been right. Charles couldn't say nothing, and it'd have been over. But he didn't even say, he didn't even mention championships in this whole statement about Barkley. He didn't even say anything about the fact that LeBron has, how many rings he got? 3? I got 3 rings. Charles Barkley has 0, so Charles Barkley can just be quiet. He could have just said that, and the whole conversation be over. Ain't nothing Chuck can say. When he's on TNT, and Chuck's on TNT, and Kenny and Shaq start talking about rings, Chuck he don't even have a comeback. He can't say nothing because he ain't got no ring. Charles Barkley, LeBron James could have just said that and it'd have been over. He didn't even say that, and then he tried to get personal with the guy. He actually did get personal, and now he says something that, listen, somebody else who knows LeBron, who's played in the league, who still works in whatever capacity, coaching, training, TV, radio, internet. They could approach LeBron. They would have every right to approach LeBron and be like, yo, you know what you just said was not just this to him. It was this to everybody who still works. Because you basically said, well, nobody can afford to retire. And yeah, we know LeBron makes a whole lot of money on and off the court. So him saying that is kind of very asshole-ish. That's the best way I can say it. And I know he didn't mean it like that. But again, that's why you got to be careful with your words, because people can take words in a whole bunch of different ways. So everybody, hopefully I got my point across here. It's a 30-minute video. Hopefully this is useful for any of you. Again, this is not really about LeBron. It's not really an NBA analysis video, because that's not what I do. But I am an expert in mental toughness, confidence, discipline. All that goes into leadership. You're going to be a leader. You have to be mentally tough. You got to be confident. You got to be disciplined. Because whatever traits you have, the people in your group, whoever it is, even if it's 2 people, even if it's 2,000 people, they're going to take up after you. And your worst traits, they're going to take those and do them times 10. So you got to be careful what you're doing, because they are going to follow what you do, especially the bad stuff, especially the stuff that's easy to do, like lose control of your tongue and say the wrong thing at the wrong time. You can't do it. You don't want anybody on your team to do it. So hopefully this is useful to y'all. Leave it in the comments, anything you got to say, any responses. I know I said a lot. What you feel about, is there anything that I'm missing, anything that I got factually incorrect? I don't think I did. Go ahead and leave it down in the comments. Your response to this, was it useful for you? Did you get something out of this? Did you watch the whole video? Let me know. Leave it down in the comments. Work on your game. DreAllDay.com.